Yeah, I hope. Okay, thank you. So, hi, hello, and welcome, guys. Welcome to yet another JD arranged by EBC on the book When Will You Die? And today we have some awesome readers with us, and we're going to discuss few things about the book and what we felt about the book, what we felt like could have been better in the book, or what we felt like this should have been avoided in the book. All the stuff we're going to discuss today. Okay, so I hope you all are excited. I'm very much excited. So, shall we start? Yes. Okay. So before starting, I think if someone can brief about the book, we will be so happy. Anyone can take up the initiative. Let's see. You can raise your hand or turn on your mic and speak. Anybody here? Shekhar, you want to go?
Yeah, I just wanted to give chance to others. If anyone
Acha,
else
theek
wants to
hai.
go. Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody else wants to? Hi, Rehana. Thanks for joining. I think her audio is connecting. Hi, Rehana. Yes. Anybody else wants to go? Shweta, would you like to give a small summary?
Hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Rehana.
Kavi.
Hi. Thanks.
I just have a
Thank you
small
for
issue with.
joining.
Yeah, thank you. No, I
Today, are
couldn't
you
join
free?
early because I had some tower issues and then I couldn't switch on my mic and all that. Okay.
अच्छा ठीक है कोई बात नहीं it's fine thanks for joining today we are eager to know your opinions
Okay. I'll just listen
yeah
to what others are saying and then I'll just go.
yeah sure
Yeah,
sure so
so
Shweta
I wanted to start it, but there is a cooking going on at my home, so there will be a little bit of disturbance in the background. So pardon me for that.
yeah totally fine
Yeah, so the summary of the book, as I shared earlier, also I have read it a month back already, and I found this book very interesting and unique because for me this was a psychological thriller, was a first reading experience. This book was the first experience in the psychological thriller, and the book is about the bond of a brother and a sister, and they are brother sister in a very different way again, right? So I don't know if people here are still yet to read or not. I don't want to. I also don't want to get into that.
no
Giving
I think
spoilers.
everybody has read the book so
Yeah,
it's
so they
fine
are step brother and step sister. So, and in spite of being step brother and step sisters in a very different circumstances, they have bonded well. They have a very good emotional connection with each other. They are not brother and sister by blood, but they are brother and sister to their bond, to their emotions, because they both had a difficult and tough childhood wherein their parent is missing. Mother is missing physically and mentally, and father has always been missing for both of them. So they both had a very tough childhood, a very lonely childhood, and that's what bonded both of them as a brother and sister. Maybe in other circumstances, such kind of brother sister will not bond with each other. They might not like each other. But in this book, the way their circumstances, their situation has been shown, you can relate that yes, in this kind of situation, uh, the siblings will bond at the end of the day with each other because they have each other for themselves, no one else. So I really like that part, and how eventually the sister grows up, walks into different phases of life, and she wants to take along her brother in those different phases of life, but it becomes really difficult for the brother to tag along or to adapt. He tries to he's kind of closed personality, so he does try to come out. He tries to do certain things in life, does not succeed at it, he does not take it well, and he goes into a shell. And the sister, until the very last moment of her life, keeps on trying to get his get her brother back to the same track where he was at once in life. So that's very touching. She never gives up on him. And then there are times wherein the brother is very rude with her. He even says what is the title of this book. He even ends up saying that why don't you just start it, so I think that that's also it's also very relatable, because we all go through a teenage phase wherein at certain point of time we are very rebellious. We don't like what our elders or what our parents or teachers or anyone who's genuinely a well-wisher is telling us to do, guiding us to do. And maybe sometimes we are so so rebellious and so strong with those emotions that we despise that person who's actually thinking good for us. So that's the that age group, in teenage and early 20s, it does happen, that kind of thoughts do come. So that's very much relatable. So I really like all these things in the book. And as I was sharing earlier, that the center, the protagonist is a woman who is coping up with the relationships in her life, especially with the men in her life. Her brother, uh, first there has been a difficult life without the presence of father. I mean, she knew her father, but she didn't like him because of obvious reasons. And then there is a brother, then there's a husband, and she is coping up with both of them. So that is very much relatable to what women do usually go through in their life. So yeah, I mean, this is what I can summarize as of now. So this is a very relatable and very very practical book, I would say, because as I said earlier also, the incidences or the events or the emotions portrayed or depicted in this book are very much from the real life. So I strongly felt connected to this.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Shweta, for sharing such a detailed overview. And I think everybody is pretty much, agreeing with whatever Shweta has said. And if there is anything you would like to add, yeah, definitely. I was expecting your hand raise, Shikhar. So yes, Shikhar, what would you like to add to what Shweta has said?
So, thank you so much for the book introduction, Shweta. But there's just one thing that I want to correct here. It's not a psychological thriller. It's a socio-psychological book. It's not a thriller.
Yeah, that's the important word. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. Yes, yes.
it's
True,
not a
true.
thriller at all, and it's mostly dealing with, yeah, as mentioned, socio-psychological. So it's dealing with like concepts like social anxiety and
Mm,
how the family dynamics are working between
mm,
people, how sometimes they are taking each other for granted and
mm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you, Shikhar, for adding such an important thing. Okay. And now, shall we move on to discussion? Shall we start our discussion? What do you
Uh,
guys think?
Anurupa has her hand raised. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Anirupa. Please,
Mm,
please.
No, no problem about it. I guess we might even touch upon this aspect later during the discussion. One thing I wanted to point out regarding something that I agreed with Shikhar as well as Sweta. Uh, the fine nuances. I mean, Sui and I don't know whether I'm pronouncing the Chinese pen pal's name correctly, but Sui and I mean, Susan, the way they had bonded because of their common affliction. And as Shweta was trying to point out, I guess, Shweta, somewhere, I guess I'll try to just not correct you, but I guess there was a line where you mentioned that
Okay.
they
I
are
think
not
she has some
real brothers and
internet.
sisters.
Yeah.
Their
Okay.
mothers were the same.
Yeah.
Their fathers were the same. The thing is the way Susan kind of took up the mother figure role, and
Yeah.
this is a story about Susan and Sui and then Joe. It is fine, but what I kind of wanted to take away from this book is how the lackadaisical attitude of parents, how the irresponsibility of parents can spoil so many lives. I mean, come to think of it, Maria was the parent figure. Maria, the grandmother, was the parent figure, was a strict parent figure, and Susan's mom was like, was busy getting her heart broken in the hope of true love. That guy was coming and going in the life, and when that guy was realizing that okay, Susan is pregnant, he used to leave her and then leave. I mean, leave her and go. So, what I'm trying to understand is how Susan took up the role of a parent and how it is important for parents to be responsible. If you are bringing someone into this earth, it is completely your responsible to make them feel protected till they are at an age where they can protect themselves. I mean,
Exactly.
if you are being so irresponsible, Susan and Joe doesn't have a father. The mother is like somewhere not feeling like a mother, not taking up the mantle, and how this very small thing, like, okay, it kind of meandered around the story, kind of meandered around the protagonist, but this underlying message that what spoiled parents can do for your life is the repercussions are tremendous. So this is something I kind of subtly saw from the book, apart from what the protagonist went through.
Exactly. That's very true. You know, and I think I was going through some reels, and today I saw a reel in which I think some kind of pageant. Okay, I don't remember the competition in which the a contestant got a question that according to you, what is the biggest sin in 21st century? And she replied that giving birth to a child and not providing the right shelter and right way to live is the biggest sin in today's world, which is so right, right? Yes, yes, Trisha.
It was actually Miss Universe India Manpreet Brar answering that question is in Miss Universe 1995, I guess.
Oh, 1995. Okay, fine. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah,
That's
Trisha goes through all these pageant competitions, and she's like a fan of all those stuff. So yeah, I should have remembered कि हाँ ये आकर कुछ बोलेगी. So
And
yeah,
that
that's a
that is
very important
absolutely
point.
right. You have the option to get abortion if you know that you're not mentally and physically capable of raising the child. I mean, you don't realize, you just think short term for those 9 months and to resolve your guilt of all the sins, but you need to realize you're giving birth to a human being. I mean, come
Exactly.
on.
Parenting is always a choice.
but
You can always,
I also
G.
feel that the kind of mother which has been portrayed in this book is a mother which is commonly found in our country. It can be commonly found because not every mother is that educated. When you speak about abortion or not conceiving in the first place, or having a choice not to become a mother in the first place. But not every woman in the country, or otherwise also not every woman would think that way. And I also believe that it has been shown in the book, as far as I remember, because I read it a month back, more than a month back it's been, I think. She has been shown as a young mother. She is not a matured person herself. She is a young mother, got married very early, did not have a good life, a good married life, and found love, trying to find love somewhere else. The love which she did not get from her husband, she was trying to find it from someone else. So she herself was she was herself struggling with her own emotions, with her thoughts, and in that phase she becomes a mother. So she was not able to give 100% to the child. And you know that happens with a lot of women, I think. They are not really
Exactly.
prepared for motherhood. The motherhood is just thrusted upon them. So it's like
I
Shadi hai
think
to.
Dr. Rehna would have something to add to this point.
Oh, I have a lot to say about Susan and her mother, her grandmother. I think I read the book 2 months, more than 2 months ago, and I think Susan is one of the best characters from the book that I could relate to as the first daughter in the family. When like normally how the first daughter or the first son has to take up the responsibility of a family is like shown appropriately in the book, and when it is burdened by same like others said irresponsible parents or due to situations when the burden doubles up, that is how they turn out to be. And I was so worried about Susan's mental health throughout the book because she had to accept her parents decision at a very young age. She had to grow up with her grandmother all alone. Then she had to take care of Joe as a mother, not just like a sister. She had to take the responsibility as a mother, and she was going back and forth in her relationship like the pen pal she between Sui, and she had to meet him, and her nani did not accept her marriage. So and then she had to leave her family, and then she had to come back to take Joe. So all this would have taken a lot of, would have given a lot of stress to Susan,
Hmm.
and that was one point I wanted to like really see in the book. Like I wanted to see more of how she managed the stress and how she was able to come out of it, and
Hmm.
the sisterhood, Joe and Sui's relationship, I think that was, Susan's relationship and Sui, that was the best
Hmm.
in this part of the book that I loved. Uh, the pen
Okay.
pal exchange.
Mm-hmm. Fine. Thank you, Rehna. So, guys, I'll give you a question that I have with me. Okay, I've prepared something. So, um, those who want, they can turn on the mic and camera and speak. And so, if you don't want to do that, you can leave your answers in the chat box. Okay, chat box is open for everyone. So, yes, the character of Joe is very questionable, as even your friend Susan claimed in her email to you. Would you change anything about the character if you ever got a chance? I'll repeat the question. The character of Joe is very questionable, even as your friend. Susan claimed in her email to you. Would you change anything about the character if you ever get a chance? So, we are putting you in the position of the author. So, what would you like to change? Those who want to take some time, they can take some time and then leave your answers in the chat box. But yes, we already have people, having raised their hands. So, going with the order, Shikha, yes.
So I would say, yeah, the character was in fact very questionable, and considering the situation that he was putting Susan in, uh, that part where the real Susan wrote the letter to the author, that brought a lot of perspective to the entire book, because I would say till that time we were questioning why this is happening, and then we read the letter from the original Susan, the real Susan, stating that my brother is not as bad as you have stated in your book, and my husband is not such a saint as you have stated again. So yeah, I would say it could have changed a bit, but maybe that change would have even changed the entire course of the book. So change is
Mm-hmm.
not
Okay.
always nice, I would say.
Yeah, okay, fine. So we have a response in the chat box by Irina. I don't think I would change it because without Joe's flaws, we cannot understand Susan's character. And if I would get a chance, it would be good to see Joe becoming mentally healthy and giving all happiness Susan deserved. Great, great answer, Irina. Thank you. And even Trisha agrees to it. Anurupa has something to say. Yes, Anurupa.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to change anything drastically and would call it like a change. I would just wish Joe has a sense of humility and responsibility instilled in him. Because
Mm-hmm.
yes, I understand that Joe was raised without a parent and Susan was the only parent figure in his life, and that is why all the tantrums that you say for your parents, Susan was the recipient of those tantrums. And like for example, getting tickets in Singapore, and then Susan repeatedly like kind of warning Joe that like let's not waste money on all these ticket fines and all. But apart from that, Joe, despite being very intelligent, despite being a very well deserving candidate to kind of do well in life, he was simply wasting away his life. Again, yes, mental health is an issue, but then again, somewhere again that kind of dilutes the entire thing. Whatever I'm talking about, Joe, because if he was suffering somewhere mentally, then it doesn't matter whether he was being responsible or whether he was not being humble. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I would just wish for Susan's sake, because I could feel that Susan, despite all her flaws and despite all her emotional baggage, she was trying to pull everyone through with whatever hard work she could. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I wish that Joe was slightly more sensitive towards his sister's concern, and just for the sake of his sisters, he could just try bring himself down the pedestal, be more responsible, and have more humility in kind of trying to work on himself, even if it's his mental health, or even if it is his talents that he has in abundance.
Yeah, thank you, Anurupa. And we have Rehna. Yes, Rehna.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't have changed it. The same thing. Joe was meant to be like that. It was his adaptive mechanism. He's not as matured as Susan, and he has not seen any of his parents either. And he was raised by his sister. If I had someone like
Hmm.
Susan taking care of me, I would have turned out exactly like Joe. So Joe has been someone who grew according to his circumstances, and it's not his fault.
Hmm.
And that is what has brought the relationship, like the kind of dynamic relationship between Susan and Joe in the book, and that's why we have the book. So I wouldn't have changed anything at all.
Wow, wow, nice, Rehna. No, whenever Rehna is there in the GD, she is very bold with her
Thank
opinions,
you.
and that's why I love when Rehna comes. I love when Anurupa comes. I love when everyone comes. But when these people come, they are like, they have strong opinions, and it makes me feel like, yes, this is what I want in the GD. So
Thank
thank
you.
you, Rehna. Thank you. So yes, guys, anybody else want to add anything? Anybody else wants to add anything, Tirtika?
What I wanted to say was all the things these guys have said. Like I wouldn't change Joe's character because not only
Okay.
not only in this particular Joe's character, but also with other characters. Because of
Mm-hmm.
those characters, like if because of Joe, because of Sui, because of Maria, Susan was created like that. Like everything is interconnected. If you change one perspective, it'll change the entire story in whole. So I wouldn't change any character for any person. So yeah, Joe would have
Okay.
acted better, as
Mm-hmm.
Anurupa said. Would have loved to see him mentally healthy and things, but still, the character and the book is what it has to be. So no changes. I wanted to do.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Rehana, there's a question for you in the chat box, which you can reply in the chat box itself. By Irina. I would like to know what do you mean if I was raised by Susan, I would have been the same. So you may please answer it on the chat. Shall we move to the next question? Okay. So the next question is there is a subtle hint in the book that Susan might be asexual. Okay, but Sui took that on himself. Would you say their communication could have been better? I'll repeat the question again. There's a subtle hint in the book that Susan might be asexual, but Sui took that on himself. Would you say their communication could have been better? That's the question. What do you think? Should their communication, be a bit more open, or should have been broadened? What do you have to say? Yes, Shikhar.
So, as it's very evident in the book, throughout the entire book, Susan is very unsure about what she actually wants. And she has been masking all that by going window shopping, not even buying stuff. Sometimes she does, but like she's masking all that. She's trying to hide what she wants because she is unsure. Even she does not know what she wants because uh, at every moment in the book, whenever there is a letter or an email which was unsent, it's like presenting so many thoughts which could have simplified things if they had communicated those thoughts. There have been so many things which could have made things simpler for them if they had actually talked about those things. Let's say, for example, the email that Sui did not send, about how every time Susan backed off, how he felt so like deflated or something like that. And I would say, yeah, the communication would have played a very major role. But again, if Susan herself was so confused, unless she wanted to know herself, the communication would not have helped either.
Yes, so thank you, Shikhar. We have an opinion by Irina here. Yep, communication could have been better, but as far as I understood the personality of Susan, she wasn't too easily being vocal about her emotions. Like there are some people who cannot convey their actual emotions like normal human beings. Yes, totally I agree to it because some people are like, I have had this experience where there are particularly men, not women. I haven't met any lady in that way. They don't talk in front of you, but they do feel everything. And most of them convey it through messages, chatting. They talk so well in the chat, like they're proper extrovert on chats. Like when you meet them in person, they're like, what should I speak now? Oh, okay, you are one among them. My God, such people feel too much. I have noticed that they feel too much and they need help. You need help, Shikhar. And we have Rehna's reply here. Oh, hi. I would be pleased to talk to you as well. I mean, Susan was overprotective around her brother, and he was kind of pampered. And Susan took most of the after effects of their lives on her by protecting her brother. She even kind of goes against her dadi sometimes, the only important person in her life for her brother, for Susan, who meant everything. And she did not completely let him feel for the loss of his parents. So that's what I mean by that. I hope, yeah. And Irina has got the point. Great. Now we have few people. Yes, Deepika.
Like you said, like the persons who express something in text are that's becoming something more and more nowadays, because I even I am like that only. I'll talk very
Mm-hmm.
fluently in text and calls. Even calls I'll talk very fluently, because we know we cannot gauge other person's reaction, right? But if we meet someone in person, we can see them. So we always get, like, we have that self thing, will be like, okay, we'll stop ourselves right now, because they might judge us. So that kind of
Exactly.
hesitation is right. It is in every relationship. Even if you take your mom, dad, brother, sister, even your fiance, husband, boyfriend, any kind of relationship you take, like if you are just blind, you'll tell what is in your mind very openly. But if you are seeing them in
Hmm.
person, you get to know how they are how they are reacting to your face straightly. So I
Hmm,
think
hmm,
that is
hmm, hmm.
the thing that is making us hesitant to tell them what we really feel. But without communication, that cannot be that cannot reach them. We also have to understand that they are not telepathic. So whatever we feel,
Exactly.
whatever we find something that troubles us, we have to try to communicate to them, even if not in person, at least some other medium, like a letter, text, or an audio message, anything. But something is better than nothing, right? So if you can't
Exactly.
tell them in person, do some other kind of communication. So in this case also,
Hmm.
I thought, like, okay, if she cannot say that to Sui in person, she could have tried something else. And Sui also could have tried something else. Like if he understood that Susan is being hesitant at some point, he could have prompted her to write a letter, like or write a journal, something like that. That would have been a communication medium also, right? It's not like you have to go and talk to them in person all the time. So that thing I felt actually. That's
Awesome, awesome. Am I audible, guys? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
audible,
So
yes.
then we have Shweta. Yes.
Uh, from Susan's character, what I gathered is that yes, one point is that she's not very expressive about her emotions. That is there, but I also felt that she is a person who is so much focused on her brother's responsibility and getting a better life for them and getting a better future for them. And that is the only thing always plays on her mind, to get a better life. And she was not really in love with Sui. Yes, they had a bond through exchanging letters and everything, and then he asked to get married, and they got married. And primarily, she got married to him to get a better life in Singapore. So I feel that Susan is a lady who has never experienced love, who never had feelings of love. Even though she entered a married life, she never really experienced those emotions, and perhaps that is why she was not very vocal about her emotions, because she never really got chance to feel those emotions. She was always loaded with other things on her mind. So it happens, when one person always is preoccupied with some other things, some other priorities in life, they will not be able to focus on these kind of relationships, marriage or love, or companionship, and they're not, maybe they're not, they are into it, but not 100% into it. And that's the reason the communication barrier comes up. So, and I do feel that this kind of communication barrier, a lot of couples go through. Even normal couples, they do have this kind of communication barrier. So, the kind of communication barrier which is shown between Susan and Sui in the book is very real, and many couples experience it.
Yes, so true. Irina has sent that, but I had been working on myself so that I can express what needs to be expressed. Sometimes it's necessary to be vocal about what you're going through to set boundaries. Very important. I think even this book has certain parts where I feel the importance of boundaries in our lives, especially from family. Okay, just because
So
they're family. Yeah,
I'm so
Shikhar.
sorry to interrupt, Kavya. I think that's actually a follow-up to the ongoing conversation in the chat. So if you go through
Yeah.
the rest of the text, yeah.
Sorry, I cannot. I just left the meeting and rejoined.
Okay, so let me tell you what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
earlier, Divya was mentioning that maybe this is because like this has increased post the lockdown. No in-person communication is comfortable now. And to that,
Hmm.
Irina replied, probably, but I personally had always been a textrovert.
I
So
understood that.
yeah. So after that, they are talking about the part that you were reading out.
Acha, theek hai, fine. And we have Trisha's response. I think Susan was so busy to survive life that she didn't live the life as we expected her to. She tried her best to give a better life to her brother to compensate his loss of parents, but that whole process of nurturing others exhausted herself. Don't you think that's what happening in our families too? Right? Just look around and you will find that. And Divya says you're absolutely right. Exactly. Agreeing with you here, Trisha. Awesome. Okay, so can we just move on to the next question, or anybody has anything else to share? Anyone can? Yes, Shweta, your hand is still raised. You want to say something? Yeah, sure. Okay, okay. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, each chapter had kind of time skip between them. Some people may find something amiss because of that. What do you have to say about your reading experience? Now, this is something that I got from most of the readers. I wouldn't say most of the readers, but yes, to whom I talked, they said ki there is some kind of connection is missing in the stories, in between the story. So, what do you guys have to say about it? Yeah, Rehana.
I think I was one of them who spoke about the laws of connection in between the
Acha, theek hai,
chapters.
okay.
It was because of the leap. I felt there was something missing in between because every chapter had a leap of around maybe a 10 years suddenly. Like 3 years, Susan is a young girl, and then in the first three chapters, Susan is a young girl trying to understand the loss of her parents, and in the next chapter, she's grown up and she is already going to get married in the next chapter, and then in the next chapter,
Mm-hmm.
an adult woman trying to understand Joe. Like, so I couldn't connect most of the smaller points in between, and the huge leap was just missing the connection. So I
Mm-hmm.
just felt that, and also the backstories were in between, which were given like under the leaking roof. Topic was there in between the
Mm-hmm.
chapters. So I found it little difficult to understand those chapters also.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. As said in a previous discussion, the writing style of the book is like a journal, and in real life too. One second, I'll just read it out. In real life too, sometimes we miss out penning down our experiences because of a thing called life. Yeah, sure. Because of a thing called life. I like that usage. Fine. Yes, thank you, Irina. So, anybody else? Yes, Shikhar.
Oh, I believe Shweta is before me. So Shweta, please go.
That's
Okay, yeah.
okay, you can go
Shweta.
first. That's okay. It's okay, Shikhar, continue.
All right, thank you. So, yeah, I also felt that some things were amiss because of the time skip in between each chapter. There was a point, like as Rehana was also mentioning in the beginning, when they were like pen pals for the first three chapters, and right after that, they moved to emails. That was like a huge gap. There was no mention, as people had also mentioned in the previous discussion, that uh, the people found that very confusing at the time, because there was no mention of like having that conversation that we maybe we should opt for a different type of communication now that there are better options, because so far the conversation has been going in a way that each letter is taking at least 3 to 4 months to reach, right? So that part suggesting the change of movement from one mode of communication to the other, maybe that one was a bit confusing for people. Other than that, I would say, yeah, some concepts are also missing because of that, because as we were talking about one thing earlier, like Susan maybe being asexual, so
Hmm.
that because they never had that conversation from the very beginning. It was like Sui just told her that take you to Singapore, we'll be physical, and then we'll get married. Just like that. It went, the
Hmm.
conversation went like that. So we did not know how it actually led to that conversation.
Awesome. Okay. And yes, Shweta.
No, I'm actually on the opposite side, where I found the way the timeline has been given in the book. I really found it very good. I was actually very, I found it very touching in certain places, and I was quite impressed with the way, that thing has been crafted, by the author. It only showed me that in different phases of life, in different stages of life, how Susan and Sue's relationship was growing. Earlier they were exchanging letters, then they adapted to technology, they were exchanging emails, and their relationship went on. They were in a long distance relationship. And on the other hand, parallelly, how Joey and Susan's relationship was also going on with different phase of life, wherein when Susan is a teenager, he is a child, how he behaves with her when she is a young girl in early 20s and he's a teenager. So I really liked it. I mean, uh, that's how, if it is about the life of the people, you cannot break it down into, small, small things. Uh, if
Hmm.
you have to, how do I put it? If you have to sketch out the important events of the people of a person's life, this is how I think you do it. You put it in a timeline. So I really liked it. In fact,
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you. And Anurupa, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, so basically, somewhere I agree with what Shweta has mentioned. I cannot at all claim myself to be an expert in storytelling and story writing. But in terms of making the story very crisp and concise, yes, Shikhar has a very good point in mentioning that they were pen pals and then they transcended into emails, and we do not understand the time leap or what led to that particular conversation. I felt that that did not exactly take away the essence from the story, and that did not take away the meaning from the story, even if they did not have that particular discussion regarding the transition. In fact, contrary to this, it made the story very crisp and concise, like highlighting what the main plot was about instead of meandering and getting into the nitty gritties of the transition. Uh, However, just as of communication wise, I would like to point out that given the larger public, including myself, we just know what is asexuality theoretically. So, given that such a unique topic was touched upon in this book, I would have just I mean, I was left asking for more. Like, what is it exactly? How does it impact a regular day to day life? And like, even for example, if I turn out to be asexual, or if I come to know that my friend is asexual, how do I handle it, or what is it exactly, so that I can be more sensitive about it? So basically, stories are a reflection of the society, how people will react to it. Or if I suddenly come up and say, hey, I'm asexual, okay, what exactly is it? Okay, how am I supposed to respond to that? So such an educative topic, such a unique topic, I wish the author would have explored more about the emotional and the educative nuances. I'm not saying that put in a chapter of asexuality, complete asexuality, about the details, what is it and whatnot, but there was a lot of scope to explore this and add more meaning to the character of Susan. And it would have, as a book, it would have been very educative for us readers to also understand this concept and be more sensitive and be more aware about it as a part of the society. So it's okay. The transitions, the timeline jumps, that all seemed fine to me. But my only ask was if whatever it is, even if it is through mails or even if it is through letters, if I would have had more clarity as a reader as to what the character went through in this unique aspect.
Yeah, thank you, Anurupa. Thanks a lot. So, guys, it's already 5:52. I'm so happy that we all discussed. Actually, I think we should have discussed a little bit more. I have one more final question left. Okay. And
So
yes, Shikhar.
I just wanted to point out, as Anurupa was just mentioning about
Yeah,
how
sure.
that touched her, and how that question has touched her, and how that has brought so many questions in her own head now. If uh, those things start happening in her own life, or someone else she knows starts raising those points in front of her, how would we react to it? So it's before going through the book, I was going through some of the top reviews for the book, and one thing that caught my eye was specifically mentioning that the book will leave you thinking about what needs to be done. So that's what I wanted to mention here. It will just leave you thinking about things. What those things
Mm-hmm.
are, you have to take what you are thinking out of that. It's your take, which part of it you are taking as the most important one, and you want to consider thinking about it more. There's so many things in this book. So again, what Anurupa just mentioned, that's just one of the examples.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
fine. So, yeah, yeah. So, shall we move to the final question? And I would request everyone to keep their answers short and simple because we have something planned for you. Okay, so my last question is the book touches a very tricky and taboo topic of how family can unknowingly take each other for granted at times. Do you think the common reader would take that positively? What do you think? I'll repeat the question. The book touches a very tricky and taboo topic of how family can unknowingly take each other for granted at times. Do you think common reader would take that positively? Yes, Shikhar.
So I would say, going through the entire book, going through the entire flow of the book, and how it has touched all those topics, talking about the things which we don't generally talk about, because these things are something many people may even neglect those topics because it's their day-to-day life now, and we don't think that it's something to even talk about now. But again,
Exactly.
the book is not a happy read, I would say. It's not an
Hmm.
enjoyable read. It's a very sad read. It's a very touching read. So, considering that, generic readers may not be the right kind of audience for this book.
Okay.
Generic readers may not even understand the book, how deep the book is,
Mm-hmm.
how it's talking about so many sensitive topics, how it's actually showcasing so many things in such a crisp and concise manner. Many people may not even understand the flow of the book.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's my take to from all this conversation here.
Yes. And Shweta.
I feel that the book, we have to, when we speak about common readers, we have to see what kind of readers are, really getting into the book, when they are reading the book summary and everything. It all depends on that as well. But what I feel is that to younger generation, this book will settle well, because
Mm-hmm.
the younger generation wants to question, they want to understand, they don't want to go with the flow. But with the
Mm-hmm.
kind of generation maybe I belong to, and
Mm-hmm.
my siblings, my elder brothers, sisters would belong to, they might not like, because we don't really
Mm-hmm.
believe in questioning our parents, we don't really believe in questioning, because we have been grown up like that. So not
Exactly.
asking too many questions, some things are better left with elders. or left better left
Mm-hmm.
unsaid, within the family. The communication is not transparent, but today's generation wants that. So I think it will settle well with the younger generation.
Okay. Thank you, Shweta. Irina, if you can wait for like 10 minutes would be great. If you can. Okay, I'm just giving you a hint. If you can wait for 10 minutes, then you can leave. Fine. Okay. And thank you, Shweta. Rehana, yes.
I think there's nothing to be to take out negatively from the book. I think the book is just a
Mm-hmm.
reflection of what is happening in everyone's family.
Mm-hmm.
Families are not just equal, they are not static or equal. It's always dynamic. Someone from the family
Very
provides
much.
more and someone takes more. It always happens that way. They don't all
Mm-hmm.
provide equally and take equally. Someone will be the provider, someone will be the taker. So I think readers who will read will either relate to Joe or relate to Susan. So people
Mm-hmm.
who relate to Joe should have to introspect the kind of relationship they are taking it granted for, and people who relate to Susan will have to think like, uh, take a step back, relax, take care of their
Mm-hmm.
mental health, and let others take their own responsibility. So I think it's just reflecting every one of our family scenario. Also, it's a psychosocial sociological book of how a
Okay.
problem family exists in a society. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of
Okay.
positives to take from this book.
Awesome. Yeah, possible takeaways. Yes, definitely. And anybody else want to say anything? Want to share anything about the book? Because if no, then we can have a 15-minute discussion, a chat with the author. Our author is here. She was listening to the whole discussion. Okay, she has listened to all that you have shared. And Jayanti ma'am, can we have you here? Hi ma'am. So
Hi,
happy to see you.
hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Happy to see you once again.
Yes, so nice to hear everyone say so much about it. Everyone has been reading so well, and Shweta, Rehna, and Shikar, and everyone. And it was very interesting because I get to read reviews as texts, but for you all to be talking like this, and I'm watching you all, is it was very interesting, something unique which I mean rarely I get to experience. And thank you so much, Kavi and Shikar, for organizing this such a wonderful group discussion. And now I do, I mean you have covered everything, I think, and now maybe I'll take some questions if that is okay. um
Yes, Shekhar is ready with his questions. He messaged me in the beginning itself कि मुझे author से question पूछना है. So I said ठीक है, पूछ लो.
please.
So, one thing that I wanted to know, there's an instance where Susan sees her father, Gerard, with Lokesh. So that's a very big question in everyone's head. Like, how did they like end up being partners in business? They, as far as we know, like Gerard was not even happy listening to Lokesh's name in the past. So how did they become such close friends and business partners?
That's the the weirdness of life, I would say, because we have seen in life, I'm sure, people who are closest of friends becoming enemies, and those who are almost keeping a knife at the other's neck becoming friends. This is such a I mean, just pure imagination. Like, many people are asking me how, where you got the thought, or Susan and what's that, Joe, where did you get those and all. I got to hear from one of my friends from Philippines, just a sentence about her cousin brother, whom she used to be close with, how he used to trouble her and how she used to take care of him. That's all, two, three sentences. And it was always there inside me, and it has become a novel. and all other things are the muscles that I added to the skeleton of that small one. Otherwise, I must confess here that I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. Just that my whatever life has taught me, or what you know, people, fellow human beings have taught me, is what I um, create my characters with. So those two guys becoming friends is the irony of life. Sometimes they have no explanation. Such ironies, that when we face, what is the explanation? What is the rationale behind? So that's one of those things.
Like honestly, I would say that was one of the moments in the book where everyone was feeling what Susan was feeling at the moment. Like everyone, we were so angry at the moment, looking like reading that part. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah,
It wasn't even about how, but more about why.
I know. I know. She was also very angry, Susan
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
we were very like correlating with her at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Shikhar, let's pause for your questions. Shweta, you have anything to ask
I
to
had
the
the
other?
same question, actually, what Shikhar
Damn,
asked.
you had
I
the
had the
same
same
question.
question because that is what, it caught me off guard when I read it, and I was like, yeah, what is happening? Why this suddenly? What is going on? And I feel that Susan took it very mildly. If I would have been in her place, I would have blown up over there, but she did not do that. So that's the
Because
elegance of Susan's. I think Jayanti ma'am wanted to maintain.
not just that, because obviously any human being matures over decades. She's actually seeing them after decades, after maybe 40 years or so. And obviously they don't, he, only that guy is there, no? Father. He
Mm,
didn't recognize her, and
mm,
she didn't want to make
yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah,
very touching. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That is very emotional. I kind of when the initial reaction settled down,
Mhm.
it really touched me. I was very emotional at that point. It moistened my eyes a little bit. That how life works. So yeah, that was. I don't want to get into philosophical mode, of course. Yeah, but it was
Yes,
very good.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
we
Yeah.
totally understand. Yes, Rehna has her hand raised.
Before we move to that, so I just wanted to mention, Jayanti ma'am, as you were saying, the irony of life. So that's again another thing. Gerard did not recognize her, even though so many people, including their neighbors, quoted that she looks just like her mother.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Yes, so Rehna,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question for Jayanti ma'am.
Yes,
As much as
please.
I understand that Joe is not the villain of the story, yeah,
Yes.
was Sui meant to be a negative shade that was meant to be a negative person in the book? I think I felt sometimes that he was supposed to be the negative character in the book that but did not get to develop as much because the story progressed between Susan and Joe.
Um, I am a believer. I mean, I love writing fiction and reading fiction, but I choose not to have distinct black or white characters, because we all have both in us. We have hero in us, villain in us. Um, I somehow feel creating an exclusive antagonist, an exclusive protagonist, is not the way the life can be reflected in a fiction. In that sense, I didn't want anything like that. Of course, Joe as a child was different. As he grew up, he became like that, and we can take him as a foil for Sui, or Sui as a foil for um, Joe. Either way, what surprises me is when Narupa, touched on the asexual Susan. So many, at least 100 readers have read and reviewed this book, but no one, I think, said Susan could be asexual. I didn't get to hear, at least. I didn't get to read. But again, when I was listening and thinking about, I felt why not? Uh, Readers can read her like that, read Susan to be that. Because uh, time and again, Sui keeps on telling her, you should, you know, you should indulge in, our intimacy and things. But she doesn't care for that. But one place any reader will see Susan is not asexual is when she talks to her friends saying, I go window shopping and that's my coping mechanism. For what? For that, right? Meaning she is not, she has all the feelings. It's just that she's either preoccupied with Joe, her difficulties handling him, or she's so angry with Sui for whatever few reasons that we can read from there. She's not asexual. Only her conversations with her friend Priya and another girl, right? So that's where we get to know she has those. I don't know if you all women we can relate. Either when they are depressed, all men and women, when they are depressed, they overeat. Very common. Depressed people get overweight very fast because they eat a lot. And in women, when they are depressed and they're not verbalizing it, they have to have some coping mechanism. And if, especially if it is to do with hormones and things, they have to have something. Where here, Susan has this shopping window shopping thing. If she was, well off, maybe she would buy everything. But she can't do that. She imagines she's buying all that by just being there. And she even puts them all in a basket. Later, she won't pay. She won't pay. So she imagines she has bought all those things. So even depressed, especially depressed women, they go shopping. If they are very rich, they will really shop. And even if they are middle class, they will borrow and shop, end up in debts. There are cases, right? We have seen people shopping and they will shop for 13th or 20th handbag or that kind of shopping, which they may not even use in future. But the very act of buying and, possessing it is what the coping mechanism work in them. So that's how I thought about Susan. I At least I didn't mean to make her asexual, and if someone is reading it, why not let them read, right? But
That's the beauty of literature.
exactly, let every reader read the way he wants, she wants, and
Exactly.
whichever fiction that leaves scope for all that. In my opinion, with my 28 years of creative years, I think whichever fiction that is leaving more scope for that is a good fiction. So I write for seasoned readers, like whoever was saying, not the mainstream readers may not be able to get the get deeper into what the fiction is talking about. So, but it is okay. I want to write only for seasoned readers who can really take things from that, because I need to like what I write. And from the process of writing, I create challenges for myself. That's what I enjoy. And with that, when the readers read, they get to participate and enjoy. And I think that kind of a collaboration is what I like. And that's why I write for seasoned readers. I'm so happy I'm having so many of you all here, seasoned readers.
And ma'am, Rehna is one among my favorite readers because she has read the other books by you.
Oh,
Whichever I have done projects, like she has read Tabula Rasa also.
oh, I need to.
Okay.
We need to talk then one day. Have you done this such a group discussion for Tabula Rasa?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we should do one.
We can definitely plan one
Yes,
such,
but yes, and you can give me a list of whoever wants to read. I will arrange with my sister-in-law
publisher. Yeah.
or my publisher. They can send copies over to you all, whoever wants to read. And of course, it that book will need time, and so
Hmm.
we won't do it. I mean, we will give 2 months after the books reach the readers,
Yeah.
so we can do one. Yeah.
And Shikhar has something to say. Yes,
Yes, please.
Shikhar.
Yes.
So, ma'am, just hearing you talk about how you prefer your books being read by seasoned readers and not by just the regular reader, it actually brought back the time, like when we were talking the last time, you
Yes.
specifically mentioned that you don't write to impress people, you write to
Exactly.
express yourself.
Yes. I
So,
challenge myself.
yeah,
Therefore, I challenge my readers.
yeah.
In fact, When Will You Die is a easy read. I wanted to try something easy.
Mm-hmm.
So my previous work,
Yes, that's true. Even Misplaced Heads is kind of, complicated, long, and the one that makes you really think about each character and circumstance.
also Tabula Rasa. So I wanted to write something lighter. That's why this book has come out. So it's actually an easy read, like Shweta was saying in the beginning. It is a
Yeah.
easy, direct. In fact, when you talked about the time, I was thinking it's almost chronological here, which I normally don't like to write chronologically. My
Hmm.
previous fictions, if you happen to read, you will know it's all jumbled, the time frame. It won't be chronological. And this is one novella that I purposely tried to write because many are asking me, oh, you won't write something simple, you won't write. Yes, I will write, I'll try. And this is what it is. So here, the chronological setting and the simplicity actually has reached many readers, but not say very young readers. Not young in the age, not in that sense. Those who have just started reading, may not be able to go deeper. Yes. Uh,
Okay. Yes. Yes, yes, ma'am.
yes.
Anybody else wants to share anything? Yeah, Tirtika, you missed the first question when ma'am joined, right? Do you have anything to ask to ma'am?
Nothing to ask. Hello, ma'am. Hope
Hello.
you're doing good.
Yes,
I,
thank you.
as you said, this is like a simple read for me. Like when people said the book was like not simple read for some people, but I felt like I can connect with all the characters. So this is a simple read for me. But I haven't read any of your other works. So if I read them, maybe I can connect how complicated your works can go and how simple this book is. I
The
thoroughly.
simplicity is in this book is in the language and the chronological setting and simple narration and things. But the issues talked there, the issues I have handled, the unsaid words and things, that is where the depth is. So that is where the readers will get to think deeper. So whoever is not willing to think deeper also gets a story on top, on the surface. But whoever wants to think deeper, think further, research further, they also get to read, right? Yeah.
I
And
really
guys, if
enjoyed the book,
anybody
ma'am.
wants to, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Tirtika, continue. Sorry.
Yes, please.
Go on, go on. I really enjoyed the book, ma'am. Like,
Thank you.
this is the first work I'm reading, and I thoroughly enjoyed the work, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
And hoping to read the other ones also.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, guys, if
Thank
you guys, anybody wants any book like previous works by Jayanti ma'am, you can contact me or you can even contact her directly on her Instagram. But I think it would be easier for her if I collect a list and give it to her so that,
Yes.
she can dispatch it together. You can
Yes.
contact me anytime. Just message me your address, full address with your name and pin code. Don't forget. And then
And
I can
mobile.
arrange.
Mobile also, the
Yes,
courier guy
mobile
wants.
number. Yes, mobile number and just ping me a message. I'll make it a list and give it to ma'am. Just
Yes.
go through Amazon, check what all of her works are, read the blurb, and whichever book interests you, just let me know.
Yes.
I'll let Jayanti ma'am know. Yes, Shweta.
Yes. Shweta?
So, ma'am, I have one question, and I have been meaning to ask this to other authors also wherever I have had chance to speak in past.
Yes.
And this is a book which has multiple point of view, right?
Yes.
And I have always wondered when I, as a reader, when I'm reading it, I have always wondered that do author get attached to the characters when write, especially when writing multiple point of views,
Hmm.
because
Okay,
I have
I can tell you, Shweta, the answer of this question. I can answer because we had all the interview interaction before this GD, and we had a full-fledged discussion on this particular,
okay,
topic. So yes, you may
okay.
go on.
Yeah. So I have always, I've been fascinated by this quality of the authors, wherein they are
Yes.
able to write multiple point of views. I've always wondered how difficult or how challenging it would have been to not get attached to one particular line of thinking, So if you're
Yes.
writing for Susan, you're writing
Yes.
for Susan's point of view, and then when you write for Joey,
Yes.
um, how it is possible to shift for you, to change the train of thinking, the thoughts and everything. So that is an art, of course, I agree. And that this is the art, writing books is an art. So but then how do you do it? I mean, how do you manage to do it?
I believe in showing the readers rather than
Hmm.
telling. And since I avoid telling, strictly avoid, like leech,
Hmm.
I don't tell. So when I don't tell, what's happening there is my opinion of that incident, of that argument, or that quarrel, or something. I have something I won't say.
Okay.
I won't say because I want my readers to infer whatever they want to
Yeah.
infer. When
Got
I
it.
do that, my readers participate in that created world that I have, I mean,
Hmm.
given them in as a book.
Hmm.
For okay, this is the background. Now coming to the characters. When I write a novel, mostly I will be living those lives of the main characters. People who know me very well, they know that I always live more in my fictional world than the real world. Weird, right? But that's how I am. So now, when I write Sui, I become Sui. When I'm writing Joseph, I become Joseph because he is depressed, he is unreasonable, but he is a human being again. He has
Hmm.
some thoughts, he
Hmm.
has his own reasons. I have to become him.
Hmm.
I have to become him so that his side of the things come out. If I'm just going to be Susan from page one to the
Hmm.
last, then the story is not what it is in this book. It's different. The shade is different, the tonality is different, right? We won't get to know what Joe has to say. We wouldn't get to know, only her side will. But a fiction is always reflecting life.
Yeah.
In life, in any institution of a marriage or a school or an institution, anything, even a book club, wherever, it comprises of human beings, therefore different from different backgrounds, different thinking, different character, nature, right? So obviously we cannot reflect life in fiction if we are not giving more than one perspective.
Mm.
Only when we give more than one perspective in a fiction, say three perspectives, it gives a roundedness. It really is reflecting life. It can reflect life. If it is only one, it is a complete journal, maybe a blog, or just one person's thought process, perspective.
Yeah.
Life is never about one perspective. Even a family of four, if you're going to talk about, each of them will have their own perspective, just for one morning breakfast. Nothing
True.
big, okay? Nothing big.
Yeah.
Just
True.
one morning breakfast. Each will have one perspective. Oh, today it is cornflakes. The children are happy. Yeah, the girl is still, she says, I would really want a mango juice. You gave me orange juice. Cornflakes is still okay. The husband says, you could have made idlis. You had batter in your fridge. Why not? He will say. But she will have something also, but she will just eat today and they all leave. Next day morning, she has to only, she can only satisfy one, either the husband or the daughter. And the third day, maybe she will do. So, just a simple breakfast, you can have so many perspective in that dining table. An example, a microcosm of life as at large. So, a fiction, short story, or a novella, or a novel, in my opinion, should have threads, should have more than one perspective. Then only it really reflects the rounded life as it is.
Impressive, ma'am. Really
Thank
very
you.
impressive.
Thank you.
And really learned a lot from the initial part of your answer, where you were saying that I don't I don't pass
Yeah, you
opinion over
can
there. Yeah,
you can
yeah,
revisit the this book.
yeah,
You will
yeah.
you will know. I didn't tell
Yes,
anything.
yes. Of course, of course.
My opinion about Joe or Susan or Sui won't be there anywhere. It
Right,
is it
right.
is the opinion of Susan on Sui. It is the opinion of Joe on Susan. This
Mm.
way, not my opinion anywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't see me anywhere.
yeah. You are a
Yeah.
sutradhar.
So you can't see me. You can't find me anywhere. That's how
Right,
I
right.
write all my fiction. Yeah.
Very, very, very right, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this, ma'am.
Sure, sure. Most welcome. Happy.
So I think we have almost come to the end of the session. It's 6:25 almost. We planned the session for around 1 hour, but we got till 6:30. It's fine, totally fine. Usually we have our sessions for like 2 hours, but
Mhm.
today, yeah, ma'am, it usually happens like the other GDs happen for 2 hours. Lekin in that what happens is author is not present. So
Okay.
it's like we people are talking,
Okay.
so that goes on, like it never stops, yeah, especially with people like Shikhar, it never
Yeah.
stops, it goes on, goes on, goes on. But today, since we have the author, we have to maintain a time limit, and
No, I am
we
okay. I am okay. I can still go on unless you all want to leave.
but I
Uh,
think we have covered almost everything about the
yes,
book.
yes, yes. But still, I'm ready to take questions and I'm ready to
Yeah.
log off also. I'm okay with both.
Yes. Yes, yes. If you people have any questions, you want to ask it here, you can definitely ask right now. We can like end the session by 6:30. Or if you have like you need detailed answers and you want to have a discussion with Jayanti ma'am, you can always contact her via her
Yes, most
Instagram
welcome. Most
profile.
welcome. Most welcome.
Yes, and I see on Shikhar's face, he's saying ki, I'm gonna message you, ma'am. I have a
Sure,
lot to ask.
definitely. Most welcome. Anyone. And I can leave the number with you for you all. So that
Wow. So, guys, I hope you had a wonderful session. I really
Yes,
had a wonderful
very nice.
session. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
lot.
Really
And I think
enjoyed
for
it.
Shweta, this is something, first time experience for you.
Yes, yes. I have attended others, this, but from this club, yes, this is the first time experience.
This is like EBC when it never usually, not just EBC, no review project ever conducts a GD.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for the first time EBC is doing it, and we
Yeah.
are so happy to host it, and we are so happy that you participated. Thanks a lot to all people who joined, who read, and although we had to conduct a second meeting, due to technical reasons and many other reasons, people couldn't join. But today we had around 15 people for the meet, and some of them messaged me that they are leaving. Rehna is a doctor actually by profession. She had some emergency, so she had to leave. Similarly, other people left the meeting, but still we had a good traffic today. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for reading, keep discussing about books. Let this spirit of loving books remain all time and forever in your life. And
Yeah.
thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot, Jayanti ma'am. We are so honored
Yes,
to have you today.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be listening to you all,
Yeah.
watching you all talk, to be read by you, to be discussed by you. It's so beautiful. This will stay with me for a week now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shikhar has something to say, ma'am. Shikhar has
Yes,
something to
yes,
say.
yes, yes, please.
So, ma'am, I know I could have texted you or like reached out to you on Instagram, but there's one question that I
Yes,
know is on everyone's head. So
sure.
rather than having everyone texting you for that, I think it would be better to get it answered here. The book
Sure.
has ended on such a cliffhanger.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to reveal anything about it, but are you writing a follow-up or like a sequel to the book now?
Oh, okay. I'm not going to write a sequel. That is sure. I'm working on my fifth book, and I don't think I will ever write a sequel. That is one. Second is the ending. I had written something else, and I didn't like it. That's why I was delaying also. I didn't like the ending, so I threw away that few pages, and I wrote this cliffhanger, and I liked it. I left it. Two to three reviewers, they asked for that, what I threw away. They wanted to know what I could have written. I said I threw away in the sense I deleted. I went to the trash. I deleted. I don't have it with me.
We don't
So
even want to know that. We just wanted closure. We just wanted closure if there is a sequel coming or not.
no sequel, no sequel. You all have to imagine what really happened to Joe. There can be so many
So many possibilities.
possibilities.
So many
Yeah.
possibilities,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
all.
For me,
That's
that was a perfect end. I mean, I really
yes.
enjoyed it.
Life is like that, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
At
True.
times we go to a point where we have so many options. Which one to take, we don't know. That's how unpredictable and abstract life is, and that's why I showed it like that.
Yeah, true. If you would have given the closure, it would have become a very predictable book, with things left unsaid. For me, it was
Yes,
very
I
fulfilling. Wow.
love to leave
Yeah,
unsaid
yeah.
words.
Same
I
here.
I won't restrict the imagination of my readers.
True, true,
That
true.
is one sin I will never commit.
I love such books. Yeah.
I
All
have to
those
I
letters,
have to
all those
nurture
unsent emails.
I have to nurture the imagination.
Yes,
I can't
true.
cripple my reader's imagination, you see. That's why.
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, ma'am.
So
Wonderful.
thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot. We are so happy to have you here, and I think your evening is better this Sunday
Yes,
with
yes,
the
of course.
GD.
Mm, yes.
So thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot, and thanks a
Most
lot,
welcome.
readers. Thank you, thank you,
Thank you
thank
so
you, thank
much.
you for
Yeah.
reading. Thank you for attending the GD even after
And
I
create
annoyed
create
you with messages.
create the list. I will get my books.
Yeah,
And
sure, ma'am.
Shweta,
Sure,
Shikar,
sure.
whichever book you want to read, I
Sure, sure.
will get them. And even Triptika, every one
Wow.
of you, anyone, whoever is not here also, if Trisha, everyone.
Definitely, ma'am. We will
Yes,
definitely get. I'll definitely get the list and I'll send it to you.
yes.
And guys, hope you will join other projects also that EBC brings, because this time I have annoyed you like anything, so that you people just join the meeting. I've sent you big messages. I have sent you essays, personal, on group, everything, but it was just so that you don't miss this opportunity of meeting the author directly and talking to her and sharing your views, because it's important for the author as well as for the reader in you. Who knows who becomes author tomorrow? Plates can
Yeah,
always
yeah,
change.
totally.
Cool, Kavi.
Yes.
No issues.
That
We
was the best
understand.
thing you said. Even if you don't become, you kind of, raise the hope in us, that we can also do
Definitely,
something,
you definitely can. I believe every person here can has the
Yes,
potential to
yes.
write a book. So,
If
yeah,
I could, if I
And
could, anyone
and your
could.
messages were not at all annoying, let me tell you. From your messages, I could only sense that you're so into it, you're so passionate about it. And the other day when I was not able to contribute, I was on the listening mode. I was listening everything, but I couldn't contribute because of travel. And I was telling my husband that this is really very wonderful, and I'm going to kill you when I reach home because of you. You made sudden plans, and I'm not able to contribute in this. So your messages were not annoying at all. Trust me. I'm sure others
thank you,
feel that
thank you,
way. Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so
That's
much
a
for
great
arranging
relief.
this. Yeah.
Messages are not annoying, Kavi. Like, I'm Team Shweta, and it's fine. Sometimes like this messages happen, and it's okay. You wanted us to experience what others like they don't have chance to. So it's cool. Really, you don't have to say anything. Like,
We will
we'll of
continue
course we'll
doing that
guide
in
you through the
future.
project. Yeah.
Yeah, and guys, I'm telling you, if you guys are already in our community, please
Now
join
she
us in
left
our
us on a
community. If
cliffhanger.
you're not there in,
Sankar,
oh. So, Shweta, if you're not in our community, I highly recommend you to join, because we have like read-alongs every month, and we select books by other authors, and we have discussions like this every month. Like we have
Okay,
around
please add me.
two discussions. Yeah, definitely adding you right away. Okay, and if
Okay,
anybody
great.
else wants to join, I think everybody else is there. Irina is there. Irina just came from the main community. So yes,
Okay.
guys, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for spending your time, precious time on a Sunday, and I expect to see you soon. And we guys are on a break. Like EBC, the whole team EBC is on a break for June, and we'll be coming back in July with lots and lots of books, lots and lots of fun, lots and lots of GDs, and hope to see you on after GD, after the July. Okay, after July. So
Wonderful.
yes, guys, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you, ma'am.
Good
Take care.
evening. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.